And welcome to Hannity. The Obama nightmare is finally coming to an end. President Obama just finished giving his farewell address in his hometown of Chicago, and he is already attempting to rewrite the history books to try and hide the truth about his failed presidency. And tonight we will explain what President Obama does not want you to know about the last 8 years and how President-elect Trump now has the opportunity to fix the mess he's inheriting. And that is tonight's opening monologue. As you were just watching, President Obama spent time earlier tonight boasting about the economy. Well, facts, they paint a much different picture. Now, what is exactly true is this. He oversaw the precipitous decline of the American economy. That's a fact. Now, here's why. Under President Obama, we have seen the lowest labor participation rate since the 70s. 95 million of your fellow Americans are out of the labor force. He didn't mention that tonight. It's been the worst recovery since the 1940s. The lowest home ownership rate in 51 years. Over 11 million more Americans are on food stamps since he became president. Over 43 million Americans now living in poverty. 1 in 5 American families without somebody in the labor force, not one person. 1 in 6 adult men ages 18 to 34, they're either incarcerated or they're out of the labor force. And by the time he leaves office, President Barack Hussein Obama will have accumulated more debt than all the other presidents before him combined. And speaking of debt, when President Obama finally leaves office, it will be almost $20 trillion, which means during the past 8 years, he has amassed $9.3 trillion in debt. A guy that once said $9 trillion in debt, that's irresponsible. That's unpatriotic. Then, of course, there's President Obama's assault on the business community through his burdensome regulations. Now, get this. The estimated cost of regulations under Obama, look at that number, a staggering $873 billion. That includes a shocking $344 billion cost in EPA regulations alone. All told, the number of new regulations that have been finalized under President Obama, that checks in at almost 3,000. Then, of course, there's jobs. Now, President Obama's always bragging about how many he's created, but facts are facts. And in the past 8 years, America has lost over 300,000 manufacturing jobs. And the president won't tell you that last year, America had a global trade deficit of over $732 billion. Then, of course, there's health care, his signature legislation. Now, remember when Obama repeatedly told you, you keep your doctor, you keep your plan, on average, you save $2,500 a year? Remember this?
No matter how we reform health care, we will keep this promise to the American people. If you like your doctor, you will be able to keep your doctor, period. If you like your health care plan, you will be able to keep your health care plan, period.
Millions of people lost their doctors, they lost their plans, and that is the start of the Obamacare disaster. This year, Obamacare premiums are exploding by 25% on average. In Arizona, they're jumping by a stunning 116%. But the misery doesn't end there. Now, remember when Obama said that the average American family would save $2,500 a year on health care? The exact opposite has happened. According to the Kaiser Family Foundation, the increase in health care costs for employer-sponsored benefits since 2008 is now $5,462. That is a 43% increase. Now, deductibles are so high that many of you can't even afford to use your plan. They're essentially useless to you. Now, choice in health care providers is also evaporating. In states like Alabama, Alaska, Oklahoma, South Carolina, Wyoming, people buying on the exchanges, they just have a single insurer to choose from. So much for choice. And many insurers are now pulling out of the Obamacare exchanges because they're losing massive amounts of money. Now, then there's the president's failed foreign policy. Where do I start? The guy that gave Iran, the #1 state sponsor of terror, $150 billion and allows them to continue to spin their centrifuges. And, of course, he paid a ransom there. He drew a red line in the sand with Syria and Assad. Assad crossed that red line. Obama did nothing. The country is now in a vicious civil war, which has created a massive worldwide humanitarian crisis. President Obama, remember in Egypt, he gave Mohammed Morsi, former Muslim Brotherhood head, he gave him F-16s, tanks, $1.5 billion of your tax dollars. In Libya, the president helped overthrow Gaddafi, and that country has since fallen into chaos, creating a hotbed for what is ISIS. And speaking of ISIS, remember back in 2014, President Obama called them the JV team. And then in 2015, just hours before the horrific ISIS attack in Paris that killed over 100 people, the president said ISIS is contained. ISIS was never contained. They were never the JV. And we know that because the terror group took over large parts of Iraq because he left too early. And the reason ISIS was able to do that, because President Obama created a vacuum. He pulled out these American troops for purely political reasons. Now, there's no doubt that President Obama's legacy has now damaged the country. But the good news tonight, we have a new president in 10 days, President-elect Donald Trump. He has promised to clean up this mess, and he has a very clear plan to do it, including creating millions of new jobs, lowering taxes, reforming the tax code, going from 7 brackets to 3 tax brackets, negotiating better and fairer trade deals, cutting regulations that are so burdensome, allowing multinational corporations to bring back trillions of dollars, repatriate that money with a one-time 10% tax. Energy independence is a promise of President-elect Trump, replacing Obamacare, building a border wall, vetting refugees, appointing originalist justices who actually will follow the intended meaning of the Constitution, believe in separation of powers, co-equal branches of government. And this is a president-elect that will say radical Islam and talk about destroying ISIS and all of the above. He talked about draining the swamp, reducing the size of government, eliminating bureaucratic waste, fraud, abuse, sending education back to the states, and finally, President-elect Trump has promised to remember the forgotten man, the people in Michigan, the people in Ohio, the people in Wisconsin, Pennsylvania. Now, the president-elect has already signaled that he's very seriously doing all that he can up to now to get congressional Republicans to show some backbone, that they will stand on their principles of limited government, balanced budgets, that they'll pass his agenda. Real, lasting change, hopefully, is coming our way. It will be up to you to hold these people accountable. And we'll be doing it here. Joining us now with reaction, Editor-in-Chief